Hi there, I'm Phil Steffes, and today we're going to go behind the wings with this versatile American bomber that served in all theaters of World War II, the B-25 Mitchell. We'll talk to a pilot who flies the B-25, explore its development and see some of the design features, and then we'll go get to take a flight.
From when I was a little kid, building the plastic models of a B-25, it's just an honor to get to fly this airplane.
This one's going to be cool. It's time to go behind the wings. Here at Wings Over the Rockies Centennial Airport location, we have interactive exhibits and fly-ins. And today we have a special visitor, the B-25 Yellow Rose. Let's go take a closer look. The B-25 was developed to meet an Army Air Corps requirement for a medium bomber able to carry 2,400 pounds of payload. The requirement was issued in March of 1939, and the aircraft made its first flight in August of 1940. It was given its name in honor of General Billy Mitchell, the Army's air power advocate, who was court-martialed in 1926 for accusing the Army and Navy leadership of almost treasonable administration of national defense for investing in battleships instead of aircraft. The Mitchell was the most numerous medium bomber used by the Allies in World War II, and it saw combat in every theater of the war, from the frozen snow-covered Aleutian Islands to the baking sands of North Africa and the sweltering jungles of New Guinea. It was one of the most versatile aircraft in the American Air Fleet and was used as a bomber, an attack aircraft, an anti-submarine aircraft, and a photo reconnaissance aircraft by the US and 8 other Allied nations. Almost 10,000 B-25s were produced by North American at its plants in Inglewood, California and Kansas City, Kansas. A robust design, the B-25 proved to be very adaptable. Its most famous mission came in April of 1942 when 16 B-25s under the command of Colonel Jimmy Doolittle were launched from the aircraft carrier USS Hornet to attack Tokyo, just 4 months after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. Later, B-25s modified with up to 14 forward-firing machine guns were used to ravage Japanese shipping in the South Pacific. Their concentrated firepower was able to nearly cut an unarmored ship in half. The B-25 was also modified as a photo reconnaissance platform and was redesignated as the F-10. Many F-10s were based at Lowry Field and were used as photographic trainers for the Army Air Force's photography school. B-25s also flew with the US Navy and Marine Corps, with the designation of PBJ-1 Mitchell. Many other B-25s were given to our allies as part of the Lend-Lease program and served with the air forces of Britain, Canada, Brazil, China, France, the Netherlands, Australia, and the Soviet Union during World War II. To make this episode even better, we have someone who flies this aircraft, B-25 pilot John Bixby. John, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to fly this airplane?
Lack of a better term, I'm an airplane geek. I love airplanes. I learned to fly, pursued the career as an airline pilot. After a couple of years, the Commemorative Air Force groups around Houston, they asked me, would I like to fly them? Well, yes, I would. I started out with an AT-6 and Lockheed Lodestar, and then worked my way into B-17, C-47. And this is my latest airplane to check out in is about 2 years ago, is the North American B-25.
So tell us about Yellow Rose and the B-25 in general.
It was built as a medium bomber, had a whole bunch of guns and about a 3,000-pound bomb load. This particular ship was built in late '43. It was a trainer, bounced around the country at various training bases. Never actually saw combat. And then the Commemorative Air Force bought it in 1979. And they've been improving it and flying it ever since. Our maintainers just take great care of it, and it's been upgraded to stock condition. Nice old airplane.
Thanks for the background, John. Let's go for a walk around and check out this plane a little more closely. Up at the nose here, this is the Bombardier Station, right? What was his job like?
Well, since the airplane started out as a medium bomber, this was the Bombardier Station. So it's one crew member sitting right up here in the nose. Here in the window, he's got the Norden bomb sight, so that was his main job, to sight where to drop the bombs. And they would do that for medium and high altitudes. He was also provided with a gun to shoot at the bad guys, so he could aim this. As the war progressed, this airplane, it became more and more used as a light attack airplane, and you see the guns that have been mounted on it. Some of it was from the factory, some of it was for crews in the field, adding on some guns. If you want to do a strafing pass on an enemy position, you've got 8 guns, 8 50 caliber machine guns. So it's not just a bomber dropping bombs, but a ground attack with 8 50 caliber machine guns aiming in on a target, that's a lot of firepower.
You mentioned the forward firing machine guns, but I've noticed some defensive armament on this aircraft. How many total machine guns are on this airplane?
Well, there's a lot actually. With the forward facing guns, you've got 2 on the side, on either side, 2 here, so there's 6 total. 7, 8 is the top turret if they're facing forward. Here's 9 with this defensive gun. There's 2 guns in the waist windows for waist gunners back there, so there's 10 and 11. And then there's 2 guns for the tail gunners, so there's 12 and 13. So grand total of 13 50 caliber guns all around this airplane.
All right, that's enough math for today. Let's go take a look at the power plant, the engines of this aircraft. All right, so this airplane is a medium bomber, but it looks pretty large. What kind of engine is required to get this thing in the air?
Continuing with the math, we do have 2 engines on this airplane, so more math. The engine, it's a Wright R2600. It's 2,600 cubic inch, 1,700 horsepower. It's a twin row radial engines. When I say twin row, there's a bank of cylinders in the front, a bank behind. So 7 in the front, 7 in the rear. It's a marvel of engineering to me. The fact that they built this with paper and slide rules and pencils, and they designed this, they made it work.
So this is an 80-year-old airplane. I wouldn't imagine that they make these engines anymore. How do you keep something like this running?
I'm not one of the maintainers. I mean, I can help turn a wrench, but I'm not one of the maintainers. We have a fantastic crew of guys and ladies that take care of that. Back during the war, they produced not just the engines and the aircraft, but parts. Most of them have probably been found, but there's probably still some warehouses that still have some parts for these that haven't been uncovered yet. So the number of shops and the maintainers that have the knowledge to work on this stuff, it's dwindling all the time as it gets older.
So I noticed some oil drips here. Is the saying true that radial engines, when they stop dripping oil, they're out of oil?
Virtually all of these radial engines will drip some oil. But again, an attaboy to our maintainers. Those are small drips. It's not a lot of oil.
Well, that covers the engines. Let's go take a look at the landing gear. All right, John, these are some serious wheels here on the landing gear of the B-25. I noticed that it has a tricycle landing gear setup. What are some of the advantages or disadvantages to having a tricycle gear setup?
The landing gear on the B-25 was a little bit, well, ahead of its time. Up until the early 40s, most of the airplanes had conventional landing gear, which meant the main wheels were up at the front with a tail wheel, the tail dragger configuration. This was one of the first airplanes to go to a tricycle gear configuration, meaning the 2 main wheels to the rear, then the nose gear out to the front. One of the biggest advantages to that was just stability. It's just, this is a more stable aircraft on the ground, just for ground handling, less prone to swerves and ground loops.
So you mentioned ground handling. I'm thinking that such a large airplane, how do you stop something like this?
Well, the short answer of how to stop it is brakes. This thing has an impressive set of brakes on it. It's got right here in the center hub, they're hydraulically activated disc brakes. It's got steel plates just all stacked up. Very, very sensitive. There's no nose wheel steering system. You just tap a brake, the nose wheel casters. So that's actually about the hardest part about getting checked out to fly this airplane, ground handling. The operation of the landing gear itself is all hydraulic. Big doors back behind open up. These great big monster wheels retract back into the nacelle. Doors close up. She's a clean machine.
So that's the landing gear of the B-25. This is a bomber. Let's go take a look at where those bombs are carried.
The bomb bay.
All right, so we're up in the bomb bay now. I'm seeing some of these dummy bombs in here, what I'm assuming is a bomb rack. What's the operation in here? How does this all work?
In the bomb bay, this is the reason for this airplane to be, the medium bomber. Here it all is. This would hold roughly 3,000 pounds of bombs. To 100-pounders, 500-pounders, and they would rack up the left side or rack up the right side. The bombardier up in the nose has the pickle switch. When he's on target, he hits the switch, and they could salvo them all at once. They could be pickled off at an interval. The loadout is dependent on the size of the bombs and how many. And then up here towards the ceiling is the catwalk for the crew to be able to get from the rear of the airplane up to the front. So that's just a little crawlway up over the top. So
that's the bomb bay. Let's go take a look at the tail. Looks like we have another crew station back here. What did this person back here do?
Tail gunner is back here with his twin 50 cals to protect the airspace behind him.
All right, so rear defense, got it. All right, well, thanks for that walk around, John. Let's get out of the wind and go inside. All right, so we're in the cockpit now. Give us a little bit of a run through of what we're looking at here up in the cockpit.
It's primitive, but yet it's very busy at the same time. The general overview is this is the instrument panel right here. We've got flight instruments, upgraded radios here. They didn't have this fancy GPS stuff back in the day, but nowadays we're glad to have it. Engine gauges right here, fuel gauges, co-pilot set of flight instruments over there. And then there's the electrical switch panels from to the left across this pedestal, to the right electrical controls. Then from here all the way down, this is engine controls, throttle, propeller, mixture, supercharger, carb heat, flaps, cowl flaps, and then some hydraulic items, but landing gear, hydraulic hand pump. Miss the rudder pedals down on the floor. For those twin tails, the rudder's back on the twin tails, controlled by these two pedals down on the floor. And the brake pedals for those hydraulic brakes are the tops of the rudder pedals.
Tell us a little bit about some of its flying characteristics.
Actually, it is a nice flying airplane. It doesn't have any power boost. It's all manual on the controls, just wheel, cable, to the flight control. It's a little bit heavy on the controls, but at the same time it's responsive. Acceleration on takeoff, when you're adding power on takeoff and you're pulling 44 inches of manifold pressure, the noise is crazy. The acceleration, it's a rush.
So you mentioned its takeoff performance. That was one of the reasons why they chose it for the Doolittle Raid, right? So it could get off the aircraft carrier?
That's correct. Jimmy Doolittle chose the airplane just for that. They put their flaps full down to get that extra little bit of lift out of it. The carrier was steaming into the wind at about, I believe, around 25 to 30 knots. So they've got that wind coming over the bow. And this thing's got some acceleration. When the deck comes up, release the brakes, off they go. And they were actually flying off of the deck before they even reached the end of the carrier deck.
There's not a lot of space in here. How many crew stations are in here? How many people would be serving on a plane like this on a mission?
During the war, it was a crew of about 6. The bombardier was in the nose, 2 pilots here, crew chief, top gunner here. Then further towards the back, we had 1 waist gunner. He could swap side to side on the waist guns, defensive guns, and then the tail gunner. So do more math, it's about 6 guys in here. If they're flying in the South Pacific, they're flying in shorts and t-shirts because it's hot. But if in the European theater, they've got leather coats and flying gear and all that bulk, flak vests. It was crowded in here.
Thank you for your time today, John. Do you think we could take it for a spin?
Close those windows, let's go, come on. What's your takeoff airborne in flight? It's good for about 185 knots true airspeed, 670 gallons of gas, so we're good for 3 to 4 hours of flying, and then time to land this thing. It's not difficult to land, but I will say it's difficult to land well. Yeah, I mean, you bring it in, just close the throttles, hold the nose up, hold it off, and you're hoping for a squeaker. And then go easy on the brakes, bring it to a stop.
John, that was awesome. That is a dream come true, flying in a B-25. Please tell me, what does it mean to you as a pilot flying this airplane?
From when I was a little kid, reading the history on these airplanes, building the plastic models of a B-25, just the fact that I get to fly this thing now, it's just an honor to get to fly this airplane, but also to be able to share it. Take it to an event, and the kids that come out to see it, and the veterans that flew it. It's just worth every bit of effort that we all put into to keeping this airplane alive.
John, thank you so much.
You betcha, glad to be here.
The B-25 played a critical role in World War II. But its career didn't end there. Because of its versatility, the B-25 Mitchell was kept in service for many years after the war, serving as a navigation and radar trainer to teach the radar operators who flew in the F-89 Scorpion all-weather interceptor. The U.S. Air Force's last B-25 was retired in March of 1960. About 45 B-25 Mitchells are still airworthy in 2024, 84 years after the first one flew. We couldn't cover everything, so leave your questions and comments under the video and we'll get to as many as we can. And come to the Air and Space Museum to check out some of our other World War II birds, like our B-18 Bolo. So we've come to the end of the video, so if you subscribe, thank you so much. If you don't subscribe, just subscribe already. Alrighty, I gotta go check out some other airplanes, so I'll see you later.